"28 Days Later" is a movie that changed the face of the modern zombie movie, helping to popularize the fast zombie and the virus-based zombie infection. And I find it ironic that a movie that helped to shape the public perception of the undead also happens to be obsessed with appearance, or at least the appearance of its characters. From their shoes to their jackets, every piece of clothing a character wears is used to quickly establish their personality and even reflect their journey through the story. And it's why, in this episode of the Storyteller's Notebook, a series in which I analyze various different storytelling techniques used by various creators in various mediums, I want to talk about 28 Days Later and how it uses its character's appearance to tell a story. And yes, spoilers ahead, as well as a content warning for graphic imagery. The way a character dresses can tell us a lot about who they are. For example, at the start of the movie, Selena wears a thick leather duster and a big pair of goggles that hide her features, including the casual and bright clothes she wears underneath them. She's always got her guard up and keeps people emotionally distant, which is influenced by her pessimistic outlook on life. Frank wears what I can only describe as dad clothes, with shirts and trousers that look comfortable but also sharp and old-fashioned. It reflects his warm and caring personality, but hints at how stern and angry he can get at times. A character's appearance tells us both how they want to be seen by the world and what they want to hide. All their worries, their insecurities, and even their deepest fears. It's a very quick and easy way to establish a character. And you can draw attention to certain character traits by subverting the audience's expectations of said character through their clothing. For example, we would expect the soldiers to be mature, disciplined, and moral, and yet we instead see them acting like teenagers, immature in every way imaginable. They're loud, crude, and downright childish. The juxtaposition of this behavior with our assumptions about how members of the military should act makes their immaturity even more immature. By subverting the expectations we'd had of these characters based on their appearance, it can amplify different aspects of their personality and in turn make certain story beats hit harder than they would have otherwise. And this is all before you even consider the idea of changing a character's appearance throughout the story, which is something that 28 Days Later does almost perfectly with its main character, Jim. Jim is a bike courier who wakes up from a coma in the middle of the apocalypse, and whose character arc takes him from being someone who's scared and confused, and gets him to slowly mature, grow, and become a confident, decisive fighter who has come to terms with the world around him. His growth as a person in the movie is represented through his clothing, as if he is literally growing up. He starts off completely naked in a hospital after the virus is already hit, like a newborn baby being born into a world they don't understand. He finds some baggy blue hospital clothes, reminiscent of something a young child might wear, and soon learns about the horrifying reality he's stuck in. As he learns to come to terms with it, he switches into darker colored hoodies and tracksuits, like that of a teenager, which is even reflected in his snarky and sarcastic behavior.
World's worst place to get a flat, huh?
He then changes into something more adult, with a yellow shirt, and after cleaning up, looks much older and mature. But the looseness of said shirt shows that he still has some room to grow, until eventually, after nearly being executed in the forest with no one to rely on but himself, he abandons the shirt altogether. In this state, he looks almost like a war hero from an action movie, bearing the brunt of whatever nature or the soldiers have to offer as he blasts through the mansion to save Selena and Hannah. And in the end, after waking up in a shot nearly identical to his initial introduction, he dons a red sweater. This sweater not only makes him look much older and mature, but also acts as a stark contrast to the blue hospital clothes he started off in, and represents how he's come to terms with the world he's living in, metaphorically wearing the blood he's been drenched in throughout his journey. Jim's clothes act as a visual representation of his character arc and show how he's grown up over the course of it. This can also be seen in Selena's outfit as well. Selena slowly sheds her many layers throughout the movie as she grows closer to Jim and comes to realize that there are still good things worth fighting for in this zombie-ridden world. And in the end, with her knitted blouse and cardigan, quite literally embraces her softer side. The clothes and overall appearance of a character in a story and how it changes can show how they, as a person, have changed. 28 Days Later shows how important a character's appearance is to a story. They not only tell us who they are, but it can also act as a visual metaphor for your character's journey and growth. The appearance of your character is arguably just as important as the character themselves. And sure, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but at the same time, a well-designed cover can get people interested enough to see what's inside. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Hope you liked my first video for Horror Month, which, I know, it is technically a week late, I apologize. I'll make up for it. I'm gonna make every video this month in some way related to horror in some way, and I've got a few video ideas I can't wait to get done, so stay tuned. Or if you want to see more about clothing and film, check out Bobby Burns' video on the subject. It's a great video, link in the description. Anyway, tell me what you think, where you agree, disagree, what kind of zombies you like, what you think of 28 Days Later, etc. And thanks for watching. If you want to see more, check out my last video where I talk about the different ways Cuphead and Titan Souls make their players suffer. And be sure to like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to come fly with me. And hopefully, I'll see you later.